Scott Harrison, startup social entrepreneur. Scott, 4 years ago you were in Liberia. You founded Charity Water out of your experience there, and you've built it already into a well-branded, well-known organization. How did you do that?
Couple simple ideas, Andrew. Tell stories, build a brand, use design and make sure everything looked beautiful. A desire for excellence in the websites, in the materials. Just because we were a charity didn't mean that, that our branding and marketing should suck. And it didn't mean we needed to spend money on it. We just needed to find really talented people. So the first person we hired would help me work on water programs, and the second person we hired was our designer.
Funny you should talk about telling stories, because we had Peter Guber on the show, the Hollywood mogul.
Okay, he's got a new book out, right?
All about telling stories. I've seen you speak, and you're a great teller of stories. Tell me a story about that telling of stories. How has it played out? How has its role been in the growth of Charity Water?
Well, that's interesting. Well, just the event in San Francisco was just that. It was a giant story where we put 300 people in a theater.
This is last week.
Yeah, asked them just to listen to the story. So if I talk for an hour, I'll use more than 200 photos and videos. So instead of talking about 14-year-old Alfred, who I met at 5:30 in the morning standing outside the stadium, who was choking on his face, with a 4-pound tumor, you show Alfred. And you show Alfred during surgery, and then you show Alfred with a brand new face a week later, surrounded. I think it just comes so natural to me. I love telling stories, and for me, I was out there meeting these heroes. Women like Helen, who had walked hours to get dirty water. Her story needed to be told. I could just kind of do her that honor of giving her a platform to talk about her courage, her strength, her dignity, her hope.
Do you think there's anything different between what you're doing as the founder, the chief storyteller of Charity Water, and the founding and telling stories of for-profit companies, the entrepreneurs who often back you in Silicon Valley?
Very little. Very little. I think we're both out there talking about our vision. Most of these companies that are founded out here, they're not just founded, we'd hope for the founders to get rich. They're founded to make the world a better place. So our vision is to give the world 1 billion people clean water, and all of the stories that I'm telling are really to achieve that goal and get other people caught up, excited, passionate, believing that that's actually true. I think that's true with a startup. I mean, we started on a couch, like so many of the nonprofits here. No money. I was in debt, borrowing money from friends to just get the thing launched, to pay for the lawyer, that would incorporate as a 501c3. And then, you tell stories enough. I was running around to nightclubs with a laptop. I was in DJ booths at 3 in the morning with my old DJs, making them look at pictures from Liberia. And some of them were like, this is killing my buzz. Stop. I'll do whatever you need me to do. I'll play the party for free. So I think it's so important to getting people to understand what it is you're trying to accomplish and caught up in it.
You make it all sound very easy. In retrospect, things, especially when they're successful, are easy. We had a guy on the show a couple of weeks ago, Peter Sims, who's written a book called Little Bets.
Yeah, I have that too.
And I assume that you began as a little bet, and you've had as many failures as successes. Do you agree with Sims's premise in Little Bets that anything that's successful has to fail many times, and you have to try and retell your story time and time again in order to make it right?
I don't think that's been true with us. I think we've been really blessed. Almost everything we've tried over the last 4.5 years has worked. And I say that as humbly as possible, but when we just tried stuff and intuitively people seemed to respond. And I think that was just because maybe the motive behind it, none of it was for us. This wasn't to make us rich. There are no shareholders in Charity Water. Our shareholders are 65-year-old women, 10-year-old children around the world. So I hope that is not true, that a few years from now you ask me, and this is the period of of small failures or large failures, but it's really been. People ask me the question. I think I'm mainly surprised we're not more successful, that we haven't raised more than $40 million, that we haven't gotten more than 200,000 donors involved. It's such a simple story. I think we could be telling it much better.